I'm Paul.
I'm Devin.
Together, we're Dads and Dice, two dads who like to play some games during our free time.
Again.
I'm Paul.
I'm Devin.
Together, we're Dads and Dice, two dads who like to play some games during our free time.
Again.
Do you just like doing stuff again?
Again and again and again. These are our top 5 games that we just had to get back to the table. All right, so today we are talking about those games that you just play and are instantly like, man, we got to re-rack this. We got to play it again. The ones that first bite was like, ooh, come on.
Now I know what I'm doing. Let's play it again now that I really know exactly what to do for every single turn. Yeah, these are the games that were just like, wow, let's get them played real quick. So we're going to go through our top 5 of them. Let's go ahead and start with number 5.
All right, so for my number 5 game we played at, I think, our first BGG con, and that is Cryptid. We played this because there was a group of guys that were trying to learn it, and they're like, hey, sit down, let's play this. And we played it, and we just instantly played it again with them. And we played it again with them, and we got back from that con, and Paul basically instant bought the game.
Yeah, I think I bought it at the con.
Yeah, and we played with our wives, and man,
that was a good one.
I still can't get enough of Cryptid. I think the fact that it has so many different, not setups, but so many different deduction clue types or whatnot, that it just makes it every time is very much a different game, and they're all quick, and then figuring out what is somebody else's. Is it away from the bear spaces? Is it in the forest?
Is it by the cylinder or by the triangle?
Yeah, or the color. All of that, it's just, man. But I can remember those first plays and be like, oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, I 100%. Wow, I completely forgot about that. But yeah, as soon as we finished it, I went on Amazon, ordered it right then and there. You were talking about like the different rules and stuff. So there's the intro ones that are like, it's not by, or it's by this and by this. But then you have the advanced ones that are like, it's not to this and not that. And then it's like adds a whole nother layer of complexity onto this game. And really, I think that was probably one of our first deduction games that we had. That just kind of made us realize, like, whoa, this is awesome. This is what games can be. Solid choice there.
Yeah.
My number 5 game, this is one that we played last year, and this was Kutna Aura. Kutna Aura, to me, was just a game that it looked pretty basic, right? There was nothing really, like, super charming or appealing to it. But as soon as you start playing and that market starts fluctuating and you start realizing like, oh, this is going to change now and this is going to affect this action and then you're going to do that. It was immediately after that. I was like, I need to play this again, but I need to play it at 3 players so that we can really get the feel for this game. And it's just it's just such a cool little mechanic of supply and demand. Like you hear there's a lot of games like supply and demand game, economic game. I feel like this is like a true economic game. Whatever you do is going to affect every other person, and I couldn't get enough of that first time playing it, and it's always been kind of in the back of my mind, like we need to play that again at higher player counts. Even at 2 it was great, but it was just so much fun.
Yeah, so Paul said it right. The different player counts is what's really cool, and we've only played at 2 and at 3. So at 2 both players control different resources, but everybody's using that same market. So I drop the price of wood, it affects everybody, and it affects Paul and making him be able to buy stuff easier. Vice versa, I, skyrocket the price of wood, and now Paul is really suffering because to get it. And then in 3 players, it was really cool because of the 3 different resources that you controlled, you shared one with each neighbor or each opponent, and then you had one that only you controlled. It's great. Honestly, can't wait to play it at 4, where I think you share with one thing with each person or whatnot. Yeah, man, it is a blast of a game.
Yeah, it was one that, like I said, I don't think either of us really expected a lot from it, and when we got it played, it was just great. So that was our number 5s. Let's move on to our number 4s.
All right, so for my number 4 game, another con game for us, and that was Barrage. So we played, I'm going to call it the perfect first playthrough of Barrage. Not perfect strategy wise, but our friend Joe, Board Games for Two, laid out the perfect teach for it. He taught the game, his first time playing it too. We all kind of were like, oh, okay. And then as we played and progressed that game, and we pulled the levers and pressed the buttons, and we figured out, oh, this is how electric flows, and oh, I should dam up here, and build my conduit here to route way down to my whatever it is, the reservoir or whatnot at the bottom. It was a blast, and we all just had a very good time in that initial playthrough, that we were like, man, we got to play this again. Now, Barrage, big beefy Barrage, is not a game that you're probably going to re-rack and play again right there. But it was one we definitely had got another play in, and just instantly walked away wanting to play.
What I'll add on to that is that first playthrough, like you said, it was just such a perfect playthrough that we did get to play this one at the last con, and unfortunately it didn't go over as well for Joe and I. But that first impression of that game, even though this last one wasn't like the best impression, that first impression makes me want to try it again, because I know in the last game that we played, my first turn, I pretty much was out of it. I screwed myself there. But because that first one was so good, I'm willing to give this one another chance, just because I remember how good it was, and I just want that feeling of again in that game. So solid choice. My number 4 game is actually going to be Voidfall. Huge surprise. Huge surprise. This was a game that we got back in October of last year, and it sat on our shelf until April of this year. And honestly, it was a lot because of me. I was really hesitant and wanting to learn it. Super heavy game, a lot of symbology, a lot of icons, a lot of everything kind of going on. David Turksey, and I was intimidated by the game. Eventually, finally, we had to make some content on it. So it was like, well, let's get it out. And we started playing it. And as we played that game, I really came to recognize that the game was pretty basic, right? It's playing cards, selecting 2 actions from that, and then doing something on the board. What was really impressive of this game was that you just had this gigantic map, and you could pretty much do whatever you wanted on this map. You could move places, you could take them over, you could start building out your little factories or whatever they're called. Just the possibilities were endless. And
you started with all your cards, so you legitimately could do whatever
you start
you want
with all your cards
right from the beginning.
And it was just a lot of fun. Like we were playing competitively the first time, and I honestly didn't care what Devin was doing. I got to just engross myself in my own game and play it exactly how I wanted to. And then we ended up playing it co-op, and even then we didn't have to necessarily do the exact same thing. We were playing our own game, just slightly working together. I don't know, just like the flow of the game, the heaviness of it, but the ease of actually doing it. I've said it many times that this is a game that we haven't played it in 3-4 months now. We can play it right now and I'll remember exactly how to play the game. So I don't know, just I guess being intimidated by it at the beginning, to realizing how put together, how well it flows, just everything about it just made me absolutely love that game.
Yeah, I'm not going to say much more on Voidfall, but yes, I agree totally with Paul. Played that game, procrastinated really because of the teach, because of the symbology, but even in the first half of the playthrough, once you understood the symbols, they really did flow pretty well, and it made you could know what you were doing just off glances. And I could imagine if you were able to play a little bit more often than us, it'd be just jumping right in and you're bam, bam, bam playing cards, because I'm, putting out my troops, I'm moving into this sector, and, whatever. Voidfall, great choice.
And really the another thing I want to play this again is because there's just so many factions, right? So it's like, ooh, now I want to play it, but with this one, which gives you like 2 special cards or 3 special cards, and it's like I can just change it just that much more.
And all the technologies,
exactly.
That was our number 4. So let's get over to the number 3s. All right, so for my number 3 game, it is, I'm going to go back to another con game, Wonderland's War.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so this one I picked up off of that box, right? And we kept passing it, and I'm like, look at this box. It's very obvious it is, an Alice in Wonderland theme. And people kept playing it and grab it, and finally, I'm like, let's check this out. We didn't know anything about it, didn't know. And then it just checked a whole bunch of boxes, right? It's the bag building, the kind of the way it was in 2 phases. The first being whatever they called the round table or the tea party phase, and then the second one being it was an area control that didn't ever feel mean, which is what I liked, right? It was very strategic. And yeah, it was so much fun. Our buddy Chris literally just happened to come down as we had the rule book and taught this game off his dome. I mean,
and the game had just released.
Yeah,
recently.
Literally just off the dome, like explains the entire game to us. And we're like, oh, okay.
Well, I think we got it.
Yeah, I think we're good. We're ready to play. So that was awesome. And then, yeah, just literally walked away from that being like, wow. That was like everything about that was fun. It hit our group very well because it had
a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything, a little bit of randomness, but a whole lot of strategy in how you were either whether it was not leveling up, but building out your character or your specific bag or whatever the case was. And I love that game.
Yeah, that's a solid one. Honestly, one that we haven't played in forever, and we do need to. Yeah, really good one. Really enjoyed our time with that game. My number 3 game. This game kind of opened up my love for narrative games, and that's Above and Below. This game, first time that we played it, it was one of those things where it was oh, we can find out this little story. And even though the stories aren't interconnected or anything like that, it's like, oh, that's fun. I get to explore this world of Arzium just a little bit. You crushed me every single time that we played that game, the first couple of times that we played it, even now. But it was because I liked exploring and I would take the risks and I would do this. And of course, you would play out the engine building. You would get all the resources, how you win the game. But I remember just thinking like, oh, wow, I want to play that again. I want to explore more of these caverns, more of these dungeons. I want to roll the dice just to see if I have that. I'm gonna exhaust my workers here just so that I can get that extra little result. And man, I just remember playing that, and we played it back to back to back. And it really did just kind of open up my eyes to what narratives could be in board games. And absolutely love.
Above and Below is a fantastic game. Honestly, kind of a bubble game for me because this is one that we played, and I say we, Paul and I and our wives,
it's
Lacey and
probably
Kirsten's
number 1 game.
Yeah, and it's Lacey is probably number 2 to Clank. There's a lot of nostalgia with this game. The 4 of us played this game a ton. It was one of early into getting into Euro games, so we all got to have a little bit of strategy there. But Paul's right. It mixed that Euro and narrative pretty seamlessly that not many games
at the time had done that,
have done, or even to this point still do. And it did it very well to where you just have this little, 5-sentence snippet of a story. You got a little outcome, and that
get your little hit.
Yeah, that was your little reward. To then build out your Euro-y engine or whatnot. And so, yeah, Above and Below, fantastic game. Now, that was the number 3s. Let's do the number 2s. All right, so for my number 2 game, it is not a Dads and Dice list unless we mention Garfield, right? Got to do it. One's got to make it. This one, very easy for me. Circadians. When we first got Circadians.
That's right.
Paul and I both were just, walked away like the best part of it was we had
zero expectations of this
didn't
game.
Really know anything about the game, didn't look into the game at all. We got Circadians, and man, we played it and we're like, oh, that was fantastic.
Yeah, you're right.
I
think we played it 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, we just we were hammering it out, played it at several different player counts. The the asymmetric powers and them all being different. We wanted to keep playing and exploring all of those different ones. And then just the fact that it didn't matter if we played this game at 2, 3, or 4.
Yep.
We were getting this done in 90
90
minutes because it is so simultaneous. Everybody, it's crunchy. Everybody has that heads down crunchy at the exact same time where you roll your dice and you begin thinking, okay, I want to get a garage, but I also need to get an extra dice, but I need to move my harvester, and I need to, actually trade and score some victory points, and just everybody's doing it at the same time. Everybody never typically is waiting for one person, finishes about the same time. Even if you are waiting for some
you're
person,
going to change your mind.
You're like, and I'll switch these
this
dice
might be better.
And, let me just put this into
never
my
mind,
farm,
never mind.
and finally everybody's like, all right, let's do it. And then, man, turns are snappy. I mean,
snappy.
I don't know, 20 seconds maybe from that point. It's just a sign there doing that. Oh, somebody went in that space. Okay, let me trade resources instead and pivot. And then you get to re-roll and everybody gets to have that crunch again. So Circadians was just such a great game.
You're absolutely right. And it's for the exact reason that you said, is because we had zero expectations going in that game. And talking about opening up the love of other games, that's what opened up my love for like dice worker placement games. I was like, oh, the dice don't just have to be, random. Because in that game, right, like the pip value higher isn't better. Right, it just depends what you want to do, and that kind of like made me realize, like, oh, it's not just I want to roll all sixes like some other games with dice. Is like the above and below, higher is better.
Yeah.
Right. So you're absolutely right with that one. My number 2 game is Terraforming Mars. You mentioned this when we were talking about it, and honestly, it kind of slipped my mind, but I don't know why. The first time that I played it was with you and Joe at Joe's house. We played the 3-player game, and I just walked away from that just being like, whoa, that was crazy. Like that was
I think we played it again the very next day.
We did play it the very next day, and it was just like, that was epic. Like, it took us 2.5, 3 hours or whatever it was, and I think at that point that was the heaviest game that I had played, either that or Feast for Odin, one of those two, if I had played it at that point. But it was just like I can get these cards and I can make it do this, and then I can combo to this, and then that, and then I can do these points, and we're all working together to make this Mars terraformed and livable. And after that weekend, there came a time where you and I, we would do our Sunday bike rides. We would come to our house here, to my house here, and we would literally just play Terraforming Mars. And we did that for weeks. Eventually it went into like Feast for Odin and other games, but there was a time period where it was just Terraforming Mars, to the point now that you and I, we know all the cards in that standard deck. We know exactly what's good. We both talk about it all the time. We play it on our phones all the time. Terraforming Mars app is terrific. It's just a game that spoke to us, and I know a lot of people don't really like it. They say it's too long. Ares Expedition's better, all that stuff. But this game just has that real big nostalgia. I can play the digital version in, I don't know, under an hour easily. And it's just an amazing game.
All right, so that was the number 2s. Now we've made it to the number 1s. All right, so for my number 1 game, I know this is not going to ring true for most people, but I'll say not everyone, but probably most people. Another Red Raven game, and that is Now or Never. So we got this game, and Lacey and I, Paul played it with Kirsten, played through the campaign of it. It's a little 6-game campaign. I say little, not little at all.
It's 3-hour games.
And so Lacey and I got it, and Lacey plays games sporadically with me. Let's call it that, right? And this was a game that we set up, and I knew I was setting up for a 6-campaign game for a 3.5 hour long plays of a game.
And this was when Luna was just born, I believe.
Yeah, and Luna was, I'm going to say, somewhere in the 4 to 6 month range. And I knew this is going to take us 6 months to complete. And Lacey and I literally played that first game, and we put Luna to bed and played a second one that exact same night.
7 hours of gaming.
7 hours. And then we did that the very next day and played the next 2 games back to back. And then we went through the week, got to the
Saturday,
next
Sunday,
weekend
whatever.
and played the last 2 games. And so literally this was a back to back. Lacey and I couldn't get enough of this game. We played, actually played not only the 6-game game, we played the intro game to get it figured out.
Oh, yeah,
and then we had played a couple games since then. But for us, this was one we both just fell in love with how it worked. We enjoyed everything about the system, the building out your own little city, the path you had to take for buildings, the populating it with the villagers that you're finding, and ultimately just the entire resource engine that you're creating. And what I say, not to add to the replayability, but part of it is that we loved so much was at the end of the game, your final base score, you don't get to save any of the resources. You wipe everything clean and you run your engine, and that is your calculated base score off of how much resources and stuff that you can produce. And to me, I haven't seen maybe another engine builder that does that lets you like test the engine to being your score. But I thought that was a fantastic way to do it. And yeah, now or never.
Yeah, very solid choice. Like you said, Kirsten and I had that first, and we did something really similar. I want to say we finished it in 2-3 week span. We were playing it pretty repeatedly. It is a great game. I've talked about this before. It's just I wanted a little bit more story. Again, knowing that I'm the narrative guy. But yeah, that was one. Again, I think Lola was probably 18 months, somewhere around there. And yeah, I remember Kirsten putting her to bed and then just playing the 3-hour campaign or game for the campaign. But yeah, we played that one really quickly too. All right, so for my number 1 game, this shouldn't be a surprise, I don't think. This is The White Castle. Man, the amount of times that I've talked about this, the amount of times that I've played this game, that first playthrough that we had at BGG Con, amazing. Absolutely love it.
Paul makes great moves.
I make great moves. Maybe that's why I like the game so much. The very first move of the game, Devin said that to me, and I think it just boosted my confidence.
Like, wow, Paul makes great moves.
Yeah. But I remember seeing that like joy in you and Joe when I did that first move, and it was like, that's what we're doing. Those are the combos that we're making. And just that like dopamine hit of like, ooh, I get to do this and this and this. Oh, and that triggers this. And then I get to do this. That to me is exactly what I want. I want those little instant gratification hits. And with that game, you have 9 turns, 12 with the matcha expansion. But in reality, you have 20, 30 turns that you're doing something with. I love the way that you can choose which dice you're taking, the one from the low end or the high end, the left or the right, to get that I think it's a lantern also. And then just placing them out there and then having, your end game scoring, you're kind of deciding how you want to do that. And each game is completely different because of the variable setup. So you can have scores up in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and then you can have winning scores in the 40s if you have nothing that lines up. So it's not usually my style of game to look at the board and play the board, but this game really forces me to do that. Not only do I play it on the table quite often, I've got 60 plus plays of it on Board Game Arena this year alone, just because it is a game that I will continue to play over and over and over.
Yeah, so that was our list of games that we just had to get right back to the table. So tell us, what games do you want to play again and again and again in the comments? And as always, please like, comment, subscribe. All those things help us, help our channel grow. See you on the next one.
Oh, yeah, no, I know what it is. I know what it is.
Of all the ones to forget. What's my number? No, I'm just kidding. 3, 2, 1.